Imagine Oracle Arena's roar distilled into a single heartbeat. Now imagine it silenced by the weight of what's about to drop. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Now, let's dive deep into the shadowy chess match unfolding behind the scenes of the Golden State Warriors' quest to rewrite history and reclaim their place atop the NBA throne. Because Mike Dunleavy Jr. just peeled back the curtain on a strategy so layered, so calculated, it could very well change the course of Dub Nation's future. The 2025 draft presents a peculiar puzzle for the Warriors. They're down to a lone second-round pick, number 41, after the sacrifice of their first-round selection in the blockbuster Jimmy Butler trade. That trade, initially viewed as a steep price, has arguably paid dividends on the court with Butler's seamless integration and the immediate push toward contention after a rocky regular season that saw highs of a blistering 12-3 start unravel into the lowlands of a 12th seed Western Conference standing, forcing desperate moves by the front office. But with their gold standard shattered, the draft becomes a crucible where Dunleavy's vision for sustained relevance will be tested. The expert mock drafts from ESPN's Jonathan Givney and Jeremy Wu have zeroed in on Roko Zakarski, a towering 7 feet 3 inches Australian teenager whose rawness is matched by tantalizing potential, a paint-scoring force with shot-blocking instincts that the Warriors covet, especially considering their historic struggle to find a reliable, long-term center since the days of Andrew Bogut. Could Zakarski be the real long-term answer, the silent anchor for a squad that's star-studded but undersized down low? The Warriors have gambled on big men before Tommy Jackson Davis and Quinton Post have flashed glimpses of hope, but none have seized the mantle fully. With 3 young bigs on the roster, Golden State's front office is clearly tossing chips on this center pursuit to finally solve the interior puzzle that cost them dearly against the Rockets and Timberwolves when opposing teams exploited the Dubs' lack of size with 2 big lineups. Yet Dunleavy's comments reveal something even more nuanced. While the Warriors hold the 41st pick, the team is leaning toward trading down rather than aggressive first-round movements, staying true to a model that has found hidden gems late in the draft. This cautious approach, born from past successes drafting second-round prospects who contribute solid minutes, speaks to the excess caution born from the cap strain after max contracts to Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and the newly acquired Jimmy Butler, whose combined salaries eclipse $170 million. Dunleavy's sobering reminder that adding another major salary is off the table forces the Warriors to scour every nook and cranny for undervalued talent who can impact without breaking the bank, a scouting mission filled with sharp intel and whispered rumors as the draft approaches. But it's not just size and salary cap worries coloring this offseason. There's a delicate dance surrounding Jonathan Kaminga, the 22-year-old restricted free agent with flashes of brilliance and moments of bench inconsistency. Dunleavy called Kaminga a main priority, but declined specifics, instead emphasizing the need for crystal-clear role definitions after a season of injury and shifting playing time, marked by the Jimmy Butler arrival. Could a redefined Kaminga become that unpredictable variable to swing playoff series in the Warriors' favor? Or is there a looming fracture in the Dub Nation fabric as talks drag with projected shooters like the Brooklyn Nets holding the cap? Space to snag him? Meanwhile, whispers linger about the Warriors' evolving backcourt Marquette guard Cam Jones is pegged by Clutch Points as a likely second-round steal to fill the void left by Jordan Poole, who was traded last season amid roster reshuffling. Jones, a 6 feet 4 inches 4-year college veteran averaging 19.2 points and close to 6 assists per game, is poised to provide scoring and playmaking off the bench. Potentially the kind of savvy guard who can relieve Curry and Butler during heavy minutes, but is adding a role player like Jones enough to tip the scales when the Warriors' title window seems simultaneously open and perilously close? And what of the Warriors' pursuit or cooling of their pursuit of a rim protector? Initial interest in Bulls' Nikola Vucevic has transpired into a strategic retreat, a shift that confounds some analysts given Vucevic's offensive prowess but defensive limitations. Instead, the market now points toward veterans like Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, or Miles Turner, all with playoff experience and, crucially, the grit to mentor a team thrust back into the brutal playoff grind. Can veterans like these integrate into a locker room still basking in the glow of the dynasty years without sacrificing the youthful energy needed to keep that flame alive? Adding to the intrigue, the Warriors quietly inked Australian forward Alex Higgins-Ticha to their Summer League roster, a 6 feet 7 inches player with professional experience and elite athleticism, offering a tantalizing glimpse into their long-term international scouting strategy and a nod to their embrace of high upside. Low-risk gambles, much as they did with Bojan Bogdanovic and other overseas talents in the past. The Warriors' off-court moves resemble a high-stakes game of poker betting on potential, salary constraints, and the ever-unfolding drama of free agency, where even the failed Kevin Durant trade renegotiations remind us of the complex lattice of personalities and philosophies that blur the lines between front office decisions and locker room chemistry. The revelation from Ringer's Logan Murdoch that Durant's departure wasn't just about NBA business, but deep-seated tensions with Coach Steve Kerr adds a somber reminder that legacy is often as much about relationships as it is about rings. So as the Warriors enter another offseason under Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s stewardship, navigating the razor's edge between savvy drafting, cap management, and roster construction, one question looms larger than ever. Can the front office's measured, methodical moves reverse the slow fade into irrelevance and reignite a dynasty? Or is this a precarious gamble that risks fracturing the hard-won legacy of Steph, Clay, Draymond, and the loyal hearts of Dub Nation? I ask you, could this be the silent pivot that eclipses even the KD era, or the fissure that fractures the very foundation of Golden State's greatness? As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. The heat is on, the clock is ticking, and all eyes are on those who pull the strings behind the scenes. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty, or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If your heart's racing, thinking about Steph slicing through defenses as sharp as a surgeon's blade for one more historic run, then type out your rawest thoughts right now, because we're diving deeper into this swirling vortex of Warriors, chaos, and hope. The tension hanging over Golden State right now isn't just the usual late spring anxiety over draft picks or free agency. It's a simmering powder keg, a quiet storm threatening to reshape the very soul of this franchise. Picture this, the core that carried us through the magical 5 straight finals appearance. That scandal of a dynastic era propelled by the Splash Brothers, Draymond's iron will, and the carefully crafted system of Coach Kerr now stands at a threshold marked with questions more ominous than anything we faced back in the We Believe days. What if this calculated conservatism in the draft, clinging to late picks like the 41st, signals not just a gamble on unproven raw talent, like Rocco Zakarski, but a pivot away from star-chasing trades or splashy signings? Is Dunleavy betting too heavily on unknowns, relying on the hope that a 7 feet 3 inches Aussie rookie can finally plug the gaping hole at center that's haunted us since Bogut's prime? Because let's be real, the Warriors have stumbled and bumbled with their big men for years. Davis and Post flash promise but never became the rock at the rim. What if Rocco is finally that chess piece that changes the game? Or what if he's yet another tall body fading in a league that now demands versatility and speed from bigs? Meanwhile, Kaminga's saga twists like a thriller series nobody can quite predict. A guy who's got the freakish athleticism and skill set to explode onto the all-star stage, but keeps getting eclipsed by the weight of expectations and shifting lineups. Could a contract negotiation stall or whispers of suitors, like those hungry Nets ready to prime away, be the crack in the dam? What if the Warriors risk losing not just a player, but the electric spark that could turn a heavy rotation into a title-ready roster? And while Jimmy Butler's arrival brought star power and swagger, it also complicated roles, minutes, and egos. Are we on the brink of a chemistry fracture that even Kerr's legendary management can't smooth out? The front office's silence on these negotiations feels less like strategy and more like a ticking time bomb. Now, Cam Jones lurking in the shadows as a potential second-round steal injects a little intrigue. Imagine a gritty, college-hardened, guard-riding shotgun behind Stephen Butler, providing clutch scoring and crunch-time poise. But is that the kind of depth injection that elevates us over juggernauts like the Suns, the Nuggets, or even the retooled Lakers making noise in the West? The playoff landscape is brutal. Teams like OKC's rising young core, Dallas with Luka's ice-cold killer instinct, and Denver's ruthless blend of Jokic and Murray, and here we are, hoping bench pieces and draft day gambles offset the glaring need for a true rim protector. Speaking of which, the pivot away from Nikola Vucevic toward veterans like Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, or Miles Turner signals a different kind of mindset, one that values proven grit and mentorship over offensive flash. But do these moves fuel the team's championship hunger or signal that the Warriors are settling for mediocrity in a league that waits for no one? The locker room dynamic also feeds into this uneasy drama. Draymond, still the defensive maestro, but visibly aging. Wiggins showing bursts but inconsistent. Moody and Podziemski growing, but what if the young core's development stalls under the mounting pressure? And the emotional toll on Dub Nation, witnessing the twilight of a dynasty, feeling the weight of legacy more than the lightness of hope. How do you channel that into belief and not burnout? Coach Kerr, once the magician who wove narratives of resilience and unselfishness, now carries the impossible task of blending veterans hungry for one last shot with the wild cards and potential franchises, players alike. Could Kerr's system evolve once again? Or are we staring down the possibility that the blueprint that built the dynasty's foundation is cracking under the strain of modern NBA trend stretch bigs? Relentless pace, switch-heavy defense? From 5 straight finals flurries to this moment of tightrope walking over an abyss, the question boils down to this. Do these moves reflect a franchise, holding on to a fading light, or quietly igniting embers of a comeback story even brighter than the Splash era? This isn't merely about contracts or draft picks. It's about identity and soul. As someone who screamed my lungs out for Baron Davis' improbable playoff runs, who wept with Clay in his beautiful comeback saga, and who still watches Steph with the wide-eyed belief that he has 1 or 2 more miracles in his arsenal, I'm telling you, this offseason, this roster jigsaw, this looming decision could be the spark that launches an unprecedented second dynasty, or the crack that fractures all we've built. The season ahead isn't just another year. It's a crucible testing the spirit of Dub Nation itself. Now it's your move, drop your full throttle, no holds barred takes in the comments below. I'll be there with heart, rage, and hope, untangling every fiery opinion with you, because this is more than basketball. It's a story we're living. Are you ready to embrace the unknown, ride the wave of this high-stakes chess game, or are you bracing for a reckoning? No filters, no shields. Drop your truth in the comments, and I'll be there with every word, every fight, every hope. But let's go deeper. Imagine the ripple effect if Dunleavy does swing a midseason blockbuster to land, a true rim protector like any veteran center rumored around the league. What if that move blindsides the conference and shifts momentum, forcing opposing coordinators to retool their schemes on the fly? Think how a single banner signing of a shot-blocking anchor could turn undersized lineups into a swarm defense, where every weak side rotation and help coverage looks like a choreographed dance of stops and turnovers. Could that transform the Warriors into the ultimate do-it-all squad that confounds modern analytics machines? And if the front office plays it safe instead, choosing to stash talent overseas or cling to cap holds, are we marching toward another season of creative genius but insufficient muscle, a recipe for heartbreak at the hands of bigger, faster teams? The stakes feel nuclear. Each rumor, each unsigned extension, Every quiet workout is a fragment in a fracturing mosaic that could implode or explode into triumph. Meanwhile, the fans in the Bay feed off every hairline crack and shining opportunity. Their chatter threads littered with bold theory crafting. What if Curry, desperate for protection, personally vouched for a fearless shot blocker? What if Draymond pushes for more isolation to mask declining lateral quickness? What if the coaching staff unearths a small ball lineup so lethal it makes the Splash Brothers look like water balloons? Every speculation thread feels like a battleground. Every insider tweet a call to arms. We're all invested in this grand narrative, living for every drop of news, every leak, every late-night text from sources. And as summer nights give way to the roar of training camp, will this team stay a cohesive unit or fracture under competing ambitions? Could the very pursuit of greatness rip apart the unity that defined the early dynasty? Or will the collective desire to seize one last rain-forged bond stronger than steel? There's no halfway point here. Either the swan song crescendos into a symphony of victory or descends into a requiem of what-ifs. So Warriors faithful, stand up and be counted. Are you ready to back these moves into the cauldron of competition, to scream as this saga unfolds in real time? Or are you bracing for impact, tense for the moment when dreams and reality collide? This is the ultimate test of faith and fury, and your voice matters more than ever. Drop it below. Let's shape the narrative together.